Hello world and true believers. This is Brenda, last Aspie girl, and I know I already made a video today, but I just wanted to make sure that it's clear to everybody. I kind of mentioned this in the video where I showed you guys my book I'm working on neuroatypical axiom, but I feel like it bears repeating that, you know, my videos are here to try to not just bridge the gap between our mindsets and neurosocial or neurotypical mindset, but it's also to kind of help people gain a little bit insight into their own. And I'm not saying that I'm right. These aren't about that. It's kind of, I'm taking you guys on a journey that I'm taking myself and understanding myself, and hopefully helping you guys to better understand yourselves, and to give maybe a different perspective if it's something that you haven't already thought of, or if it is, then maybe it helps to kind of give some validation to that. Because I know that a lot of the feedback that I get from you guys is often quite encouraging for me to realize that there are other people that are out there that think like me, and I didn't have that for most of my life, and that was always very difficult for me. So I kind of am doing this to kind of do that, and to also because I want to say that, like, so much that I've read from experts out there says that our mindset is an impairment, and I don't feel like that's true. I feel like because of the way that we are in society, that the communication problems we don't have them with each other. We mostly have them with a neurosocial mindset, and the way that they want to fix it is to kind of force us to adapt to them. That's why I made that whole video on mind blindness, and it's kind of like, it's kind of like we're colorblind to their social nuances, their spectrum of colors. It's like we see, I talked to Naysayer about this, it's like we see in infrared and ultraviolet, and we see this spectrum of colors that they're not capable to see. It's like, how do you describe this color of infrared to them when they only see in reds, blues, greens, yellows, and purples, are ultraviolet colors. We see these different things that they don't see. I don't think that that's an impairment. It's only impairment in dealing with them. And these are things that I thought about before I was even diagnosed. And, and I just want to kind of share some of the stuff with you guys, and hopefully they'll help you in your own journeys, because I think it's really important. I think especially for us not to see any one person as an authority or an expert. And I definitely am not an expert at anything. But I do like to try to share some of my own experiences and some of my own thoughts and epiphanies and insights and stuff like that, hopes that will help you guys. And one of the things, like, I was talking to Naysayer and also Kaj about this earlier, I was thinking about, because Naysayer likes to call those of us on the spectrum neurodivergent, and I like that. And also, like, if you go to Ian Ford, now Star Ford, if you read the book at the end, I think it's at the end, or maybe I did a search. There's a group called Divergent Labs. They're working on this whole kind of safe haven space for those of us on the spectrum, and actually call it Divergent Labs. And there's Gaia, and there's different aspects of it and everything like that. And it's interesting, cause both those, like, looking at Divergent Labs and, like, hearing Naysayer always say neurodivergent, like, makes me think. And I remember, like, before I got diagnosed, one of the things I was trying to explain to my therapist and psychopharmacologist, psychiatrist, whatever you call her, like, why I thought differently, and I couldn't verbalize it. I couldn't put it into words. So I remember I went home, and I thought maybe a visual would help. And one of the things that I came up with was this, let's see if I can get this in there. So it's supposed to say, like I felt like in the world there's a common path that people take throughout their life. And then I think that the neurosocial or neurotypical mindset, a lot of times, due to a rebellious nature or a blip or a freak occurrence, will deviate from that path. But once they deviate, they stay on that same path. And for me, I didn't feel like it was like that. I felt like my mindset was this, there was the common path, and that right from the beginning, I diverged from that path. And then once I diverged, the path started splitting and branching and, like, and going all about back and forth, mirroring itself all simultaneously, backtracking and going forward and branching out and taking all these different paths. And I felt like that's how my brain worked, and why I felt like I thought so differently than everybody. I'm actually going to put that in a neuroatypical axiom. I've been going through like a lot of my old things that I tried to I wrote, or I tried to research to try to figure myself out before I was diagnosed. And you know, I thought that was kind of interesting, and I showed it to Naysire, and she felt like that resonated deeply with her. And if it resonates with any of you, you know, that's great. You know, like I said, I'm not saying that's why we say neurodiverse, or is because we are so very diverse, because we all developed in our own little unique bubbles. I think there are some things that are similar across the board, like the fact that we like to figure things out ourselves. We also think we want to find our own truths, and sometimes I think we might look to others for insight for that, but I think at the end of the day, it's about us discovering that on our own. And I just hope that some of these videos, you know, kind of, because I know that's what I did when I first started out on my journey. I went and I read you know, every book I could find from the perspective of people on the spectrum, like Field Guide to Understanding Earthlings by Ian Ford, or books by John Elder Robinson, and like his adventures. Like that actually gave me some of my, because like so much of what he wrote also resonated with me. And there was also, you know, there were Temple Green and these two boys on the spectrum, like the bunch of girls. Like I got all these Kindle books that I read too, and then I started branching off and reading stuff like on the social brain, because I wanted to see the other end. And I also started reading books from the experts like Simon Baron-Cohen and things like that, because like part of the reason I think some people aren't diagnosed, because of the way ASD or AS or neurodivergency or or however we being on the spectrum is kind of conveyed to the world by the experts. I think that they get a lot of it wrong, and so a lot of people they might not be diagnosed because they don't even recognize it in themselves until they start reading something from the perspective of someone else that's on the spectrum, or neurodivergent or something like that, you know. So I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys. I just wanted to say, you know, like a lot of what I write is about me, you know, it's not about me saying that I'm right. I know that I might be wrong. I'm fully cognizant of the fact that I may be wrong. Being right isn't the point. The point is, you know, helping people to think outside what, like, I think for us, helping people to see that box that we've been, because I feel like a lot of times, like things like CBT or the medications they give us, the normalization things are like these round holes, and we're square pegs, or we're octagon pegs, or we're triangles, or whatever we are, and they're trying to like force us into these holes. And in order to do that, they need to round out our edges, and in rounding out those edges, it's causing traumatic damage on some level. It doesn't matter, you know. And I'm saying that maybe that's not the way. That's all. And, you know, and let's try to be the Foxy Frogs and find another way. It doesn't have to be my way, but find a way that works for you. So that's all I want to say in this video. Thanks, everybody. Bye.